Facebook friends, and hello to the Latinx network. It's been so wonderful working with you over these last couple of weeks. This is going to be our final visit together, so a big thank you for all that you've done and for getting the word out to the Latinx, the larger Latinx network, about what's at stake in this campaign and what in particular this campaign means and our campaign means for the Latinx community. Today we're going to be talking in particular about the 5% threshold that we are hoping to reach and what you can do to help us reach that, and why that will be so transformative for our political future and all the issues that we are struggling together on. I'm coming to you today from Brooklyn, New York, and in fact we are standing right outside of Hillary Clinton's headquarters, where we hear there's some kind of a demonstration that will be going on soon, and I guess that's why all the police are present. I think there's going to be a demonstration against Hillary's war policies, which is great to see that people are starting to mobilize now, because we have a lot to mobilize for. And I'll just say right now that, you know, this campaign is a beginning, it's not an end, and we need to hit the ground running on November 9th, you know, the day after the election. We're going to keep going so that there is a voice of political opposition, a voice on behalf of people, planet, and peace over profit. That's who we are together, and with the Green Party, that voice actually has an impact and a focus and an organizing base, so that we can actually be that center of resistance and transformation that we're going to need, no matter whether there's a Democrat or a Republican in the White House. We need that new political energy of by and for the people that you are so much a part of. So with that, we're going to open it up to your questions.
The first question comes from Gladys from California. I am a Latina and I am voting green, who constantly gets told that they are wasting their vote, which I disagree with. What would you tell those who say a vote for you is a vote for Trump, or that a vote for you is a wasted vote?
So thank you, Gladys. I really agree with you. First of all, let me say there is no new special entitlement for the rich establishment politicians. They seem to think they are entitled to our votes, but they actually have to earn our votes. In this election, more than any other, people are very unhappy with these two establishment choices that are being shoved down our throats. They're the most disliked and untrusted candidates in our history, and they have not earned our votes. So I reject out of hand this presumption that we have to justify our votes when people don't want them. In fact, it's almost 60% of voters now that's calling for an independent new political party, because the Democrats and Republicans have done such a poor job of representing us. And let me say that the biggest waste of a vote is throwing your vote away for these same political parties that have done you such a disservice. That is a true wasted vote. The best use of your vote is to invest your vote in a real movement for change, that is by voting for the Stein campaign and for the Green Party. If you are among those people who feel like you're just too scared and you're too frightened, at least go out and register green. If you register green and ideally vote green, you're basically casting a vote not just on November 8th, but every day you are casting a vote for peace, justice, democracy, and the human rights for us all. Thank you so much, Gladys.
The next question comes from Chico from Georgia. I am a Latino, and I was just informed about how 5% of the vote can help build the Green Party for the next election, and this is why I decided to vote green. Would you explain to Latino voters who are undecided and may not have an idea of what 5% means for the future of this country?
Thank you so much, Chico. 5%. You're absolutely right. That's the critical number. Because if we can get to 5% of the vote, it's a whole new ball game going forward. And let me just say that a recent poll done just a couple days ago by Politico, those polls generally are not talking to millennials, they're not talking to Latinos, They are not talking to immigrants and communities of color. This is where our real base of strength is, from those who've been politically disenfranchised. So there's a very good chance that we can get to 5%. Some people think even more. So I encourage you that the most important thing you can do with your vote is to use that vote to help us get to 5% and to tell everyone you know. Because if we get to 5%, it means that we have a guaranteed $8 to $10 million. And I'll say that again because there's a little noise in the background. That's a guaranteed $8 to $10 million in federal matching funds in the next presidential election for the Green Party candidate. That's $8 to $10 million. Can you imagine what we could do with that in order to jumpstart our campaign? That's about 5 or 6 times as much as we've ever had in any campaign total. And that would be our money just to begin organizing with, which would then lead to a whole lot more fundraising as well. But it would mean real organizing and just real strength to get the word out on all the issues that are so critical to our survival right now, between jobs, immigrant rights, ending student debt, making public higher education free, establishing health care as a human right, creating a welcoming path to citizenship, ending those policies that are creating the immigration crisis in the first place, like the war on drugs, like NAFTA, which has displaced so many farmers south of the border, like the invasions and the destabilization of other democracies, like Honduras, that was, where Hillary Clinton was leading the charge for this military coup that has brought in a whole new era of violence to Honduras. We need to stop those policies. These are critical issues. They're critical right now, and neither the Hillary Clinton White House nor a Donald Trump White House is going to solve these crises. So it's all a matter of breaking this stranglehold of fear and doing the organizing so that we can actually stand up. Truth to tell, there are enough people right now that if the number of people holding student debt came out to vote green in 2016 to cancel that debt by voting for our campaign, we could actually win this election right now, hands down. But there's been a media blackout. We need to fight that media blackout. We need to get the word out. We need to fight that fear campaign, and we need to hit the ground running and show as strong a vote as we can on election day so that we have as much momentum as possible. Then starting on November 9th, we are here for the long haul. And thank you, Chico, for being a part of that team and for getting the word out that the 5% will create a whole new ball game for an America and a world that works for all of us. Thank you so much.
Next question is from Cecilia from Illinois. As a Latina voter whose husband was deported 4 years ago, I believe that a vote for the Green Party matters because they have an honest view and solution on this issue, like repealing the 96 laws. Do you think more people should know why third-party votes matter and why?
Great, and thank you so much. Did I get it right, Cecilia? Thank you so much, Cecilia. A very critical question, especially to the Latinx community. What Cecilia was referring to there was, the 96 laws, which was an immigration policy, I should say an anti-immigrant policy, first established actually by Bill Clinton with the support of Hillary, a set of policies that began to militarize the border, that began to recruit community police into being anti-immigrant enforcement agencies with the so-called 287G policy that turned police into ICE agents, and that really laid the groundwork for this policy of deportation. The Democrats, have unfortunately been the major actors in this policy. In this campaign, we've seen how the Republicans are the party of hate and fear-mongering against immigrants. But the Democrats, unfortunately, under the Democratic White House, have been the party of deportation, detentions, and night raids of families and children who are then thrown into essentially jails under these very inhumane conditions, particularly for families and for children. This has been just an outrageous abuse of human rights. So as you say, this is what it's really important for people to know about and to reject the propaganda that it's just the Republicans that are the problem here. This whole policy of border militarization and anti-immigrant deportations was really started by the Democrats. So we say we've got to hold both of these parties accountable, and we have to stand up for a new way forward that provides a welcoming path to citizenship, that expands the categories under which immigrants can be here legally, including as refugees, which most immigrants actually are, refugees from very misguided and harmful U.S. policies. And above all, we need a new Marshall Plan in order to address the economic crisis and also the crisis of violence in countries south of the border, so that people are not forced to have to leave their communities and to come to a strange country and have to try to fend for themselves and establish new lives here. We need to create a more just foreign policy and a more just economic policy on the part of the United States, and create this Marshall-type plan that actually creates a decent and just future for people who are living outside of the U.S. as well as for people who are living inside of the U.S. Thank you very much for bringing to light here this really critical issue in this campaign, and one of the many reasons why you've got to stop throwing your vote away on this failed two-party system, and why people, your friends, whoever they are, the naysayers, why they need to start investing their votes in a real movement for change. We have the power. The minute we stand up, we have the solutions and we have the numbers that it takes to create the world that we need. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you.
Our final question: why is it important that Latinx voters help the Green Party reach 5% of the electorate?
Great, and this is an important, a really important issue to end on, because the polls suggest that we may be right up there hovering at 5% right now, so your vote can be a transformative vote. So it's really critical. If we get to that 5%, we have approximately $10 million to really organize, to break the media blackout, to help get the word out, to lift up the voices for immigrant rights, the voices for to end police violence, the voices to ensure that we have living wages, the right to a job, and an end to the economic crisis and the climate crisis, as well as an end to the crisis of student debt. We can solve these problems. If we can actually get the word out, we can organize enormous passion and vision and networks that are out there already fighting on the front lines. We are lifting up those front lines and bringing them into the front lines of this election. If we get together and if we have the resources that we get for getting to 5%, we're going to see a transformative election ahead of us. Getting to 5% also means that we're going to have ballot access in most states automatically. That means, again, we can hit the ground running, really fighting on the critical issues that are at stake in this election and in the next one. Otherwise, we have to start from the very beginning, fighting our way just to get on the ballot in order to have a voice. We need to fight this political system that silences political opposition and creates two-party tyranny. Getting to 5% will enable us to do that. So thank you so much for doing your part, for casting your vote, investing your vote in the future that we deserve and in the political empowerment that we need if we are going to transform the future. So don't waste your vote on a failed two-party predatory system. Invest your vote in that future we deserve with the Green Party. And thanks to all of you at the Latinx Network for having been a part of this very exciting conversation. I really look forward to continuing this conversation and this action after the campaign as well. So we'll give you a couple days of downtime after the election, but expect that we will be in touch, we will stay in touch, because we are on one small boat Either we're gonna sink together or we're gonna sail together. And we need the Latinx community to be there leading the charge in this small boat for an America and a world that works for all of us. As members of a community that has been forced to flee from some nations and to come here, the immigrant community really are the citizens of the world, really are the citizens of the future, who know what the world looks like and how important it is that we have justice for immigrants and that we have justice on both sides of all borders, that we not allow artificial political borders to stand in the way of the peaceful, just, and secure, sustainable, green future that we all deserve and that we can only achieve as we work together. I look forward to being on your team for the long haul. Thank you so much for making this transformative moment possible. Thank you so much, and all the best.